Hey guys, this is Oshi from Tiny Dragon Tarot, and this is going to be another pick a card reading, obviously. But before I go into that, look at my new tiny dragon. I know it's late and I have to use my lamp, so I really don't like filming in not natural light, but this is what it is. So I have a new tiny, look at that, from a lovely, lovely person. So this tiny dragon is going to live in these readings as well from now on. So we have two tiny dragons now. But yeah, so today's reading is gonna be the first part of two readings because I think the topic, as you can see it from the title, healing, is very, very important. And I know that for a lot of folks, the new year means new opportunities, and for a lot of you, it actually started well, which I'm really honestly so happy about. I wish all of us would start every new year like, filled with optimism and being able to leave behind easily what we need to leave behind. But sometimes it's very scary to start a new year because you see what you will have to accomplish in the next one. It's harder to ignore the big changes that are waiting for you along the line when you're at the beginning, because when the usual things and the usual routine picks up, it's easier to just concentrate on the smaller things. But at least for me, it seems like that the beginning kind of brings out the panic and the worry from a lot of people, because we realize that it was another year that went by and we haven't accomplished what we wanted. We didn't deal with the things we needed to, and one of them is healing relationships and healing things within ourselves, in our relationships, in the closest or closer relationships, and pretty much our relationship with the world, especially these days. Last year and the year before, it was hard. It is still hard. So this reading, the first one, is going to be about we're gonna look at what needs to be healed within yourself regarding your closest relationships, and then the world. And then we're going to close off from a message from our spirit guides using the Work Your Light Oracle deck. And there's going to be a tarot deck, a do and a don't for each of the oracle cards, to get some advice what to do, and not just be like, okay, what to do with the information that I need to heal this part of myself. So we're gonna get some advice, which I think is very important. And in the second one, that's gonna come in hopefully next week, is going to be about just ourselves, and we're gonna look at the four elements and the areas connected to it, and what needs to be healed for you specifically, just in relation to yourself. So we have 3 pies, and hope this is useful. And as always, I keep forgetting to say that if you have an idea or a question for a pick a card reading that you're really curious about, please do leave them in the comments. And if it resonates well enough with me, and I think it would, because most people are curious about the same things, I'm gonna do a reading. So yeah, please leave your suggestions in the comment down below. Every information about the decks that I'm using, where to find me, how to support me, because those are all helping me, are gonna be in the description. Also, please like and subscribe, because that also has my channel, and share this video with people you think they could benefit from. So pile number 1 is a rune. Pile number 2 is a seed with smile on it, and pile number 3 is a little shell. So these are your pies with some shadow. Yeah, shadow work, quite literally. So yeah, please pick one that resonates, and if it doesn't, come back and pick another one. See you in the first one. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose the rune, then this is going to be your reading. So we're gonna go from inwards to outwards. So the first topic is, where do you need to heal and what do you need to heal within yourself? And we have the fairness card, and yeah, I'm gonna put it here. Let's see if I can keep everything in the frame. That would be awesome. So fairness, it's all about finding balance, and it's a very delicate balance, to be critical enough with yourself but not be overly mean and shaming yourself, and being that judgmental, because sometimes we need to be critical with ourselves, because we are not perfect. We make mistakes, and we need to recognize those mistakes in order to be able to evolve and grow. But unfortunately, we very much tend to overdo it, and we very much tend to sit on the judging side. So what's really important for you to heal after the last year, or just in this moment, is how fair are you when you look at yourself. How objectively can you see the good and the bad side of yourself? Because if you can do that, then you can appreciate yourself for the good part, and second, you can work on the so-called bad ones, and maybe turn them into not so bad. Or if those are shadow areas of yours that you just can't, so to speak, get rid of, if you integrate them in, if you acknowledge that, hey, I fall short in this area of my life, then you can be a more wholesome person. Because doing shadow work and getting more fair and more honest with yourself regarding your qualities doesn't mean that you have to look at yourself like you're perfect. But if you know that this is a situation where I lose my head, or these things are triggering for me, if you work through them, you might be able to eliminate a few triggers. Or if you don't, at least you know that I'm not going to get into this situation, and I'm not going to do this to myself, because we're talking about your inner world, your own self in this part. Because I know that I'm going to end up hurting myself, and that's a very, very sad, but also it can be a very long-lasting thing to experience, when we are hurting ourselves. And I don't necessarily mean physically, even though that's unfortunately a lot of people's reality, but just mentally. There are a lot of things that we doesn't even recognize that we're doing to ourselves, because we just think that, oh, it's the usual, because everybody does that thing. But it's not good for us. We have to stop being so judgmental that we're picking everything that we do apart, and we can't recognize when we're doing something well. So what to help you with the do I love this. We have the 10 of Cups, and I'm sorry it's quite bright, the light, but that's the only thing that I can do at this late. But hopefully you can see it like this. It's a beautiful card. I was very much feeling like using the Light Seer Tarot today, because I needed a hug deck for this reading. And the 10 of Cups is in this case, because also it's okay. I need to slow down. So it signifies people in your life that you can trust. So when you feel like you're getting overly judgmental with yourself, go and ask those people that you trust and love for their feedback. Be honest, be vulnerable. Ask them, did I did this? Was I really mean? Or whatever the situation was. And if they love you and appreciate you the way that you need to be loved and appreciated, and these are the people who needs to be in your life because you trust them, they're gonna give you honest feedback. But also, I'm kind of getting the feeling as well that with this card, you need to be able to imagine a brighter world. Imagine that you can get this love for yourself. Because even though the 10 of Cups is usually about, the perfect relationship, because we're talking about the self here, it's the perfect relationship with the self. So work towards that, it's a very positive affirmation, so to speak, that you need to look out for, that you need to be able to, not need to be able to, but you need to choose it can be very hard, but you need to choose being optimistic and loving towards yourself. I love that. Okay, and what don't do, I just love that. It's the Five of Cups, and it's pretty much just in air quotes, don't stay stuck in the pain, the loss, the sadness. And it's quite interesting because when I'm filming this video, I did pick a card of the day, and it was the Five of Cups, and it very much came through that sometimes we're getting stuck in these emotions because the emotions are getting trapped in our physical self. And maybe it's the same for you. You know, sometimes you feel sad and lonely and worried and anxious, you know, all those things. And even though your logical mind knows that it's not good for you, it's not easy to let them go if you have a knot in your stomach, you know, or a pit in your stomach, or however you say it. And one of the release for that can be crying, it can be shouting, it can be journaling for some, it can be talking to people that you trust about it, it can be going out in nature and just breathing and just not thinking about everything and everyone that you need to deal with all the time. Sometimes that can be very helpful, but the advice is, you know, very clear. Try not to get stuck in the negative cycles, because it's easy to spiral down and, you know, be judgmental towards yourself. So yeah, work on those two things. And I love how contrasting these two cards are. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like, I'll probably try to show you. It kind of looks like that this bowl, that this sad person who's, you know, only concentrating on what it was lost, can see it's filled with all this. You know, the Ten of Cups, everything you want, the love that you want for yourself is closer to you than, you know, you think, because it's inside you. But if your attention is only on the negative, and I'm not saying it's easy, definitely not, you know, shifting the focus, but when you feel the physical manifestation of all these emotions, try to do something about the physical at first. Like I said, sometimes a good cry is really needed. It's not, you know, being weak if you cry. Just sit down somewhere where no one is gonna, you know, walking on you and, you know, make you feel like you did something bad, because, you know, crying is a natural release for our body. This is why we cry. So, you know, use it. Like I said, sometimes screaming into a pillow can help as well. Okay, let's see your relationships. What needs to be healed? We have the red flag. Okay, we might not be able to stay in frame, so let's put this here. So we have red flags, and what says to me that you might be, especially after, even though that was, you know, for yourself, the Judgment card, maybe there are relationships close to you that you perceived too naively, in a way that you were, you know, too eager to have, and you burned yourself in the past. It doesn't have to be in the last year, you know, it's just what's currently need to be healed. And what I'm getting is that maybe you choose sometimes to ignore the red flags because you think that that's the only thing that you deserve. You don't deserve, you know, better or more, or this Ten of Cups, because you think that, you know, you're not good enough for that. So you ignore people's red flags and then get burned and get hurt in relationships close to you. So there might be people in your life that are not this, you know, Ten of Cups, who are just there and they shouldn't be, and you know, but you're ignoring the red flags. And what to do about it is, okay. I was just looking at the other cards, but no, we have the Seven of Cups, and because the don't do card is interesting. We have the Seven of Cups, which is what to do about it, you have options. But don't, I think what I'm getting with this one and the red flags is don't, long for a lot of people in your life that are on the surface or in just, some percentage good for you, thinking that the more the better. Because in this case, the less is the better. Because if you have fewer but more better quality relationships, you're much more, better off than having a large group of friends, for example, who are just friends when everything is good, but they disappear when something is bad, when you really need help. So concentrate on the good ones and work on I'm getting trusting issues maybe as well, because sometimes when we keep a lot of friends, it's because we don't want anyone to get too close to us. So we're unintentionally keep inviting people that have red flags already, like into our life, because if they come in, we know that we are not gonna let them too close, because subconsciously we know that they are not good for us. We're just trying to hold on to them and waste a lot of energy on them because we think the more the better. I hope this makes sense. Please do let me know if not, Alex. I will try to explain better. And we have the don't do and the Eight of Cups. And at first I was like, oh, but this should be the do card, because, the Eight of Cups is all about letting go of a situation where you invested time, money, energy, and love in. And it's not an easy thing to let go. But for a new beginning, you have to. And what I'm getting is, because it's in the don't do, that some of these relationships are definitely worth clinging on to, or holding on to. But you have to, sort things out. You have to sit down, think through, who are those people in my life who could be there for me because I'm not letting them too close to me, who deserve a place in my life, who could be this Ten of Cups, group. And, if you know already these things, who are the actual real friends and who are those that doesn't deserve your time, then it's awesome. I think, I forgot to say that, it doesn't have to be everything that you need to really work on. It could be that some areas are very good with, some you don't. Whatever message comes through, comes through. But definitely, think about who are those people that you are not giving attention and they would deserve it, and who are those who are signaling to you that, they are not worth your time, yet you're still giving them. And with the word, we have the Sun, nourishment, optimism, and leadership, which could be that, with the leadership, especially, that for a lot of us, our faith or trust in leaders in general are kind of, for people still, they still trust in everything that they did before the whole thing happened. But for a lot of us, our trust gets shattered because there was just so many miscommunications, so much false news all around everywhere, that it's very hard to think about. And I look at that, how much these two cards are complementing each other. But the problem is that when you don't trust that happiness and optimism can be part of life, which I would completely understand, because we had 2 very, very difficult years behind us, and no one said that this year is gonna be automatically easier, even though I have faith that because we're entered the year of the lovers, where most people are going to, come from making better choices, and being more loving in general. It's gonna be all about, making choices in relationships. So it's gonna be a great year for that. In a way, great, but not easy to go through. But yeah, it's kind of hard, and most of us lost that optimism that the world can be nourishing, that it can be full of miracles. It's very, very hard to find those miracles. Sometimes the bad is just overcoming the good one, and that is definitely, an area that where I think most of us struggle. But what to do about it is we have the Two of Wands. And it's interesting because the Two of Wands is a card for making plans, and it can be quite literal, like travel plans. So if it's, an option for you in your country, then go for it. Start looking at, places you want to visit, and if you can, go out for even short trips, because that can give you back that normalcy, that feeling of a more normal world can come back better than, just think about it. But if you're not at any place where you can just leave the house easily, I would say start, making plans about trips and how to move forward with those type of travels once you can do that. Because if you keep reminding yourself that, hey, I still have a lot of places that I want to go, and where I want to go and what I want to visit, your focus will shift into a more positive anticipation, anticipation. I can't pronounce this word for some reason right now, but it's going to, anticipate better things, because you will have something to look forward to. And I think that's where you can find happiness. And we have strength in the don't do card position, and this card is all about using your strength, but knowing when you don't have to or shouldn't use strength. And what I mean by in this position is that I'm not saying, be weak, not at all, but it's more like sometimes we're trying to push things forward because we think that this is how it's going to happen. This is how we can make it happen. We're gonna hammer everything and until it just freaking goes through. And that's unfortunately for a lot of us, it's not an option. Sometimes no matter how hard you want something, like going out and traveling or meeting with friends, it's just not an option, and you have to exercise inner strength to be like, okay, this is not the last option to take this trip if it gets delayed, for example, or if you were very much looking forward to a concert or a stand-up special like I was in January, which was cancelled again. It's very easy to be like, okay, it's never gonna, we're never gonna be able to see it. It's never gonna happen. But you have to remind yourself that no, this is just the current state. There's already better news are coming out because of the other things that are happening, and I can't really mention that because YouTube doesn't like to mention things like that. But we need to reserve our strength and pull through this whole thing, because it's going to end. All the cycles are always ending. It's very hard to be in a cycle that's going very slowly, and sometimes it feels only downward, but every cycle closes. It's just natural law of the universe, or I don't care, someone's law. So all the bad will stop at some point. And if you have the plans, then you're not gonna be just like, okay, what now? Because you will have a plan for what do you want for your future to be like, and it can involve your job, your relationship, where you want to go to travel, what do you want to do as a hobby, even though if you don't want to change your job or something like that. And you're gonna be able to make the transition easier. Also, what I'm thinking with this card is, if you have what is it called, the board, I suddenly wanted to say it. I hate forgetting words when I just wanted to say it too quickly and then it disappears. like a wish board. It's not, it doesn't call wish board, but when you make a board and you put all the things that you wish for on it, so, and put it somewhere that you can see daily, so it reminds you of your goals and what you want to. So do something like that. You don't have to display it if you live with people that are not really understanding what you do. You can put it in a notebook and keep that notebook with you. And when you need some encouragement, open it and just look through all your plans for yourself. And, write positive affirmations about yourself in it as well. Because, you deserve it. You're not as bad as you think. So these are all the cards, and now let's see the last message. We have the Mirror. Who or what is triggering you, which is, for me, ties very much into the self-love thing and to be with everything. Because if you figure out, I think I talked about triggers at some point, I think with this card, is if you figure out what or who triggers you, you can deal with them. You're not gonna let the red flags fly off, or not. You're not gonna be just devastated by bad news, because if you can learn about yourself enough to know that why certain things trigger you, then you can be like, okay, I know this is triggering me because, and then build up a way to handle it, like have a plan ready. Know that if you run into, okay, I'm going to give you an example, so maybe that's easier to understand like that. So maybe if listening to the news is very triggering for you because all you hear is bad news, but you know that you can't stop it because it's needed for your work, or other people will talk about it no matter how much you try to not listen to it, then come up with a plan that you will do. Maybe go mentally in a safe place when this is happening, or look into protection spells. That's what I think it can be very useful. Keep crystals that you think could work for you to help you calm. I have a new beautiful bracelet that I got from a friend for Christmas. It has labradorite on it and rose quartz, and I wear it daily because labradorite is a very calming stone. So that could be something. If you have one around, wear it, have it with you all the time. But it could be just like telling other people that, hey, this is hard for me to listen. It's not good for my mental health. Please don't do that. And that's okay to have those boundaries up. So yes, this was your reading. Hope this was useful, and please do let me know how it works for you, or what are your plans. Let's talk about something positive, and see you in the next reading, which is going to be getting more into detail what's going on inside your head and heart and soul and body. So please like, subscribe, share it with other people, because that would help my channel very, very much. Find all the information is in the description all the time, so all you have to do is look there. And if you resonate with me and you want to get in touch, you can find me on my main channel as well. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you. Hope this is useful, and have a lovely day. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose this smile little bean or seed, and then this is gonna be your reading. So there's a lot of reflection. I'm really sorry, but I have to film in the evening, so this is what we have currently. Where we're gonna start is with your inner self, and then we're gonna check on your relationships and on your relationship with the people closest to you, and then with the world in general, and then we're closing it off with messages from your spirit guides. So the first card is Arrogance. Okay, that's need to be healed. Okay, I'm gonna show you first. So you can see there's a larger figure and a small one, and the larger is stepping on the small one, because it can be double-sided if you pick this pile. because you can be the one that's been trampled on, or you can be the one who is in pain and conflicting pain on others because of that, or but because we have arrogance, sometimes we don't recognize or realize that we're arrogant because we just think we're right. But the most important question when something like that comes up is, which is more important, to be right or to be happy? And I think for most of us is to be happy. And I'm not saying that, let anybody walk over you, but don't be focused too much on being right, that you can't take criticism or you can't hear another side of the story, even if you don't agree with it. You don't have to agree with it, but listening to other people and listening to why they think a certain way they think about the topic, and it can be anything, can make your worldview wider. It can help you to see the world differently. It can help you to be more empathetic. And I'm not saying you're not, because like I said, you can be the one who is in this position, and in that case you need to clearly set up boundaries. But because this is also the self, the position for the self, and I kind of forgot because the message was coming through. Because it's the self, I'm kind of getting some inner child work that may be needed. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that. If you have some issues that that's connected to your childhood, which can be very triggering. So I'm not saying just do it no matter. But if you have those type of issues and and you're trying to shove them down because it's just too hard to deal with, that can be something to look into. But what I said about the other thing, being arrogant, too arrogant. Why can't I say that word? About knowing everything, it hurts yourself. It hurts you because your logic, that's the one. Your logical mind doesn't know more than your heart. Sometimes you might think that, your head knows everything because it's the more outspoken one. But your heart has all the feelings, and the heart is where real happiness from the emotion, real happiness comes from emotions. It's not something that you can experience in your head, which could be very hard for someone who is an air sign, for example. So don't think that you know everything better because you have a logical reason for that. Because if your gut feeling is telling you that you're not right about something, even though your head says, okay, I'm going to give you an example, so make it easier. So work is the easiest thing. You're in a workplace or you have a job that your head knows it's good for you because you have a steady income. You don't necessarily hate it that much, but you don't love it. But you're like, okay, we can't leave because this is safety and protection. And that's true to a point, but when your heart is constantly suffering because you're not where you're supposed to be, you're not doing anything that you're supposed to do, you're never gonna be happy. And realizing that it's not easy because, like I said, safety is a very basic human need, and it can be override by happiness. Unfortunately, it doesn't, or fortunately, I don't know, it doesn't work like that. Maybe we would all died out already if that would be overridden by override. It would be easy to override with emotions, but sometimes if you do something that's not good enough for you for too long, it's gonna come back. Hope that makes sense. And what to do about it? Oh, interesting. We have the devil. And I'm kind of getting Obviously the devil can be substance issues, so if you're trying to mask the feeling that you're feeling, with using something to numb those emotions, then definitely that's not a good thing. So you should not do that. But because we have that in the positive side, sometimes experiencing the what I'm getting out of it is sometimes experiencing the wilder, more animalistic side of you. And in this case, where the passion lies, can be very freeing. Sometimes I think you need to just say fuck it and do whatever feels right in that moment, and don't let your head rule you. Not for a long time, because then you can end up in a place where you don't want to be, but sometimes there's temptation and you should say yes. Don't always try to live your life very strictly according to the plan, because according to the plan you're not going to be happy. And how I read the devil, by the way, is an energy, situations, life events, people who are coming up to us to test us, to see if we change. So, when you engage in a conversation, for example, with someone that you think you know more about the topic that the two of you talk about, try to not, act the usual way that you do. And try not to just be like, okay, I'm not even going to talk to this person because I know that this is going to be like, temptation for me to just be negative. Because sometimes maybe you can learn something from the person, if that makes sense. But I'm definitely feeling that the devil card here is not, a don't do card. It's more about experience life on a physical level more than on the logical. Because the devil card can signify sexual healing, sexuality in general. And sometimes it's not a bad thing to just experience those physical needs instead of, being very, very strict and smart about things. If that makes, that's what I'm getting. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. And interestingly, well, not interestingly, but the don't do is the Page of Cups. And even though this page is all about learning more about the emotions, but being very open about emotions, what I'm getting is how the picture looks, and what the card gives me is about, don't live your life amongst the clouds. Don't daydream too much and forget to be in the 3D and live your life as well. Because, if all you do is just run these theories in your head, you're not going to experience life. You need to be more open to the possibility of experiencing life on a physical level, because that will help you to be more open. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Be more open to engaging with other people, because for some reason, there's a block here that prevents you to connect with other people. Yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna stop there for now. Okay, we're gonna go and continue with the relationship with the people closest to you, and we have reciprocity. Not surprising, to be honest. It's very important, to find reciprocal relationships where you're equal and you don't think that you're better, or don't let other people to think they are better. Because living together and supporting each other is very important. So look for relationships in your closest circle where you get what you give, but also make sure that if people are that you love and care about, obviously, are extending their energy, their love, their time towards you, that you reciprocate it. And sometimes it's hard to hear, because we all want to hear that we're in a better position where other people are making the mistakes, but sometimes we're the ones making the mistake, and this could be a chance for you to learn from them. In the do, we have the moon card. I love this deck so much. And for this card and this position, it's more about it's definitely getting in touch with emotions and what's in your subconscious. Because if you look at it, this person is under the surface in the water, which can symbolizes emotions. So getting in touch with your emotions is very much, like I said here, it's the same for the closest relationships, just like it's important for you, because for some reason there's a blockage. Very interesting. Also, nope, not important. I wanted to say something, but no. Yeah, get in touch with your emotions and how you deal with things, and don't let fears and being anxious stop you from reaching out and being vulnerable. And in the don't do is the Seven of Pentacles, which usually is a card all about waiting for results to happen, working on something, and then letting it grow, or planting something and letting it grow. But in this case, I think you shouldn't wait around with changes that needs to be done or needs to be made, because the sooner you start experiencing things in 3D, experiencing your emotions, the better better your relationships are going to be, because you will be able to be more reciprocal. You're gonna be able to be more equal in them. You're gonna be able to give and take equally, and that's a very important thing. And that's so far what's missing very much from this, according to this reading. And let's see what the word is all about. We have the Six of Paper, glue, mending, healing, and reconciliation. So what needs to be healed in connection with the word is actually the connection, with the glue. I'm definitely getting that, you might feel isolated, and you might experience all these things because you think that you're in a position where other people just don't agree with you on some sort, or maybe in big topics, and you feel alone, and then you push these things down. But for you especially, the healing is, it's highlighted here. You need to reconcile those emotions and maybe forgive those people that you think are just being, idiots for not agreeing with you, because you might be right. I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong. The question is, which one is more important, being right or being happy? And sometimes you have to be the bigger person and, reach out and say, hey, okay, this is not working, but I miss you. You're part of my life and I want you in my life. So let's figure something out. Sometimes you have to do that. And you can do that. I'm definitely seeing that you're capable of, doing that. And we have for the do, we have the Five of Pentacles. So interesting. Because the Five of Pentacles, healing the relationship, or how you look at the word, the Five of Pentacles is feeling isolated and lost. And maybe how you heal these relationships is a way to take a step back. And it doesn't have to be physically, if you live with those people that you have a problem with. sometimes you can't do that, but mentally, because you're very good at mentally doing things, take a step back and, don't always try to be there and tell them what to do. Let space for yourself to heal available. You need space for yourself to heal, and that space is going to be, it can be created in relation to how you look at the world. Because maybe you need to step away from what's happening if you can, obviously, and take some time off for yourself. Because, Five of Pentacles, it's all about loss and being alone, but the solution, the key to this door with the Five Pentacles is here. So that wouldn't mean that you're closing this door on everybody forever. But if you're hot-headed, because that could be a problem, sometimes stepping away from a situation can be healing. And sometimes you have to just turn off the news and, just take a moment for yourself and just be alone. And that's a way to maybe calm down and get that relationship with the outside world back in a more equal, balanced position. And in the don't do, we have the King of Cups. I hope you can see. The King of Cups is so interesting because the King of Cups is someone who mastered their emotions. But we have it in the don't do. And what I'm getting out of it is, the feeling that I'm getting is, don't switch from knowing everything in your head, being so clever and smart and knowledgeable about everything, and living in your head and being the King of Swords, which is the element of air, and immediately, and switching into, okay, I know how all the emotions work. I just, dip my toe into this water of emotions and I figured everything out. And, I know, again, be too arrogant to think that it's going to be an easy journey, that you can make these changes quickly, because it's not going to be like that. So try not to, go from one side to the other too quickly, because you need to find that balance. Balance is the key for you, for sure. And let's see what your message is from the spirit guides. Take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. Yes, definitely with this Five of Pentacles. Take a step back, because this is going to be a life's work. It's not going to be an easy change for you. If you're the one, it doesn't matter if you're the one who is, being the more arrogant in this situation, or you're the one who's under those people. Changing that thing out is not going to be easy. So take breaks, step away from situations, even with yourself. Sometimes you just need to enjoy the moment and be in that. Obviously, don't overdo it, so don't develop anything like a dependency on something. I would never say that. But sometimes you need to deal with the 3D in a 3D way. Because, yeah, it's gonna take a while to learn all that, but you will be able to. But you have, because you're very clever and open. Maybe not open, maybe that's where the problem lies, but everything is inside you. You have the power to make this change, to mend, to heal. But yeah, you need to come back to earth a little more. And sometimes I'm getting that maybe this is all about, getting away from what's going on, living in your head, trying to wait things out, because someday it's gonna be better, so I'm not even gonna engage with everything that's going on. Could be a reason, which is very understandable. But you have to come back and start experiencing things in the 3D for you to be able to heal these things. So yeah, I hope this is useful. Please like, subscribe, share it with other people that you think that can benefit from these readings. Don't forget to smile. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose this little shell, then this is going to be your reading. Sorry about the bad lighting, but it's quite late and we don't have natural light here anymore. So how this reading is going to look like, I'm going to check what needs to be healed in yourself, within yourself, or in relation to yourself, to your closest relationships, and then the world. And then we're going to close the reading off with a message from your spirit guides or higher self, whatever you believe in. So okay, we have blame for the self part, and it's definitely blaming yourself for all the bad things are happening in your life and not being able to fairly look at situations, and which is very similar to pile number 1. So if you were thinking about picking pile number 1, maybe you should check that one as well, because there could be messages in that pile as well. But it's also very important to not blame others for all the things that are happening to you, because that can cause shame. That can cause you feel shame after that. If you're, going around blaming other people for everything that's happening when it's not their fault. So, don't be either. Don't blame yourself for everything and anything, and don't blame other people, only other people, for something bad that happened, or maybe how you feel, because you can blame it on the news, you can blame it on how other people are treating or not treating you, your expectations towards others. It needs to come back and be more supportive. And if you can be honest, which one are you doing and why you're doing that, that can be a very, very powerful and healing thing to do. And what to do about it is, we have the 9 of Cups. It's lovely, because this 9 of Cups is all about finding emotional independence, realizing that you don't have to look for happiness outside of yourself. So you're not gonna blame other people if they can't give you the happiness that you're so very much looking for. Or you can't, you're not going to blame yourself for not getting it because you think that you're not good enough, or all those horrible things that we tell ourselves. Because the 9 of Cups is a place where you find content and happiness with what you have. So what's important and what you can do is actually practice gratitude, because gratitude is the way to find an appreciation for life. So if not a lot of good things are happening, still just close every day with either writing it in a journal. Gratitude journaling is a very powerful thing to do. But if you don't want to do that because you're not a journaling type, just close off every evening with one sentence where you find something that you're truly grateful for. And sometimes it can be just only the fact that you're laying in a bed. But if you do that every day, every night, you can start it in the morning as well, because then you're gonna start the morning with something positive. So maybe do it twice if you can. You're gonna build things up, because once you say, okay, I'm grateful for this, you're gonna be like, okay, but I'm grateful for this one as well. And sometimes the list is not gonna be too long, but sometimes it's gonna be longer than you expect. And that being in the feeling of gratitude can be very, very powerful and healing. And it can start that shift that you need to do, that you can find everything that you're looking for inside of you. And you don't need to blame anyone, either yourself or other people, for lacking, because you're gonna realize that, hey, I'm not actually, because I have more than I think. And what don't do is the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is someone who's not just, in complete understanding with their emotions, and it doesn't have to be gender specific. It's just a more nurturing, more understanding energy. But what I'm getting from this one is, right now it's important to get your resources, your emotional resources for yourself, because the first step is building yourself up. And once you're in a better place, when you're feeling more healed inside, you can start sharing your love, your energy, your understanding, once you reach this Nine of Cups place. But until you're there, you shouldn't, because your cup is going to be empty again way too soon. And before you learn how to give without giving away everything, you shouldn't, in this case. Sometimes we're allowed to be selfish, because sometimes we need that. For your closest relationships, we have authenticity, which is quite, easy and understandable, I think, because it's very much just be your authentic self with all the good and the bad parts. Because I'm not saying, delve into the bad one and just be like, hey, this is me, so deal with it. But don't shy away showing where you lack, because other people can be much more understanding than you think, that you might give credit for. And hiding away who you are and what you need can be, a reason for feeling this, blaming yourself for not good enough, because you're trying to live up to expectations that might not be even there, because you just think that people want you to be a certain way. And then, there's a disconnect, and then you feel you were the one who didn't do things correctly. When it's just that when you're not who you are, people can't perceive you and can't love you the way you need, because, they don't know how. And in the do, we have the Tower, and the Tower card is, which is very powerful, but the Tower card is getting, starting over, because the foundation is not stable, which I said with, I think I said something like that. So with the closest relationships, with authenticity, don't be afraid to start anew with the relationships, even if they are close. They are the closest one, and they knew you for years. Don't be afraid to be like, okay, but I'm actually like this, but I actually like that, and not this and not that. Don't be afraid to let go of what you build up already, because it's not on stable ground anyway, so after a while it's gonna go. But if you initiate this change, it's gonna be less painful and much more rewarding, because you're gonna be at the wheel. You're gonna initiate the change, so you can be in power, you can be in control. So yeah, definitely. And what don't do is, don't lose hope. The Star is all about being hopeful, and it's not don't wish, like don't be hopeful. No, it's don't lose hope. Don't think that your closest relationships are gonna be over. You're gonna lose everybody if you show who you are for real, because the right people are going to stay in your life. Some might fall away, but you don't need those, and they don't need you either. And that's very much important to remember, that these people might not be, horrible people. It's just that if you're not authentic and you're not your true self, you might be in any sort of type of relationship because you both want something else out of the relationship, but neither of you communicating that need. So they might need to go for somewhere else where they can get that authenticity that they need, and that love and care that they need. And you too, you deserve love, so don't lose hope that these changes would end up you being all alone, because that's not how it works. You're gonna find the people you're meant to be around if you do that. And what needs to be healed regarding your relationship with the world is the festival. Okay, celebration, fun, material goods. Yeah. What needs to be healed is you want to go and get out and have fun, and it's not happening right now, which is understandable. And what to do about it is we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is be a bit more logical and, think, and don't necessarily use your emotions to decide what to do. So don't be too impulsive. Because sometimes, maybe you just really want to go out and have fun and meet people, but your mind, your logical self knows that's not the right thing to do. And if you accept that, that, hey, this is me being smart and it's not me being missing out on things, that can be something that's maybe helps dealing with how things are. Because we have the don't do. In the don't do, we have the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is not clinging on to, things too easily. But in this case, what I'm getting is don't spend your energy, your resources too freely. Like impulsively buying tickets for a concert that you don't know if you can go. Because it might get cancelled, but you don't get your money back, or you waste time thinking and hoping that you can go there, and then it's not going to happen, and you're going to just, blame yourself for not being smart about it. Being reserved with your resources right now is going to help you out in the long run, because when things are starting to open up as much as you want, because, there's a lot of restriction for everybody still, then you're going to be like, okay, but I have money saved up, or I have plans already, I have lower expectations than before, so I can be like pleasantly surprised. Yes, that's all I'm seeing. So let's see. Your last card is messages from your ancestors, or that's what came. I didn't say that to the other two groups, so maybe it's coming from your ancestors. Then it's transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing, and that's definitely the Tower card. But that's a good thing, because you can initiate this change. And also, the Tower is going to happen, you want it or not, but you can be at control. You can be the initiative for the change. And this change is very, very much a good one for you. You're gonna find this happy place where you can, later have all those close friends that you really want and you deserve to celebrate with you later, when it's, the right time for that. But you need to go through these changes before that. And because I said ancestors, which was, like what? Maybe you need to do some ancestral work if you're, doing something like that. If you're working with anything where, you can do that, please do so, because that could be something that you need to look into. Okay, this was your reading. Hope this was useful. Please like, subscribe, share, because that helps my channel, and I want to have the more, as much people as I can. You can find all the ways to support me if you want to. Obviously, if you find value in these readings, in the description down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and see you in the next one. Bye.